Yeah, good morning. My name's Joe Rothrock. I'm the special agent in charge of the Dallas FBI field office. I want to first start by thanking our partners in local law enforcement, specifically the Dallas Police Department, for their quick and timely response. I can confirm at this time that the FBI is investigating this incident as an act of targeted violence. It is unfortunately just the most recent example we've seen of targeted violence, to include here in North Texas, where back on July 4th, we saw a coordinated attack carried out against an immigration detention center in Alvarado, Texas. What I can also share with you is that early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack. This will be a whole of government response. There will be no resource not utilized to bring all those individuals who are responsible to bring them to justice and to hold them accountable. While we're not releasing identities of any victims at this time, what I can confirm for you is no members of law enforcement were hurt during this attack. If any member of the public has information that would help the FBI's investigation, I would ask that you please report that to 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, any piece of information will be helpful, but this will be an ongoing investigation between us, a number of federal partners, and our local partners, again, to ensure that anyone responsible is held accountable. With that, I will turn it over to my counterpart from the ICE Enforcement and Removal Office.
Good morning. My name is Joshua Johnson. I'm the acting field office director for ICE Dallas. I'll be brief with my comments, but I do want to start off by saying thank you to the Dallas Police Department, Dallas FBI, HSI, CBP, ATF, and virtually every law enforcement officer in North Texas for your support. This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities, and I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Again, thank you all so much. As it was said here today, if you do have any information, reach out to 1-800-CALL-FBI. Thank you. Thank you.
This needs to stop. Violence is wrong. Politically motivated violence is wrong. It was 2 weeks ago today that we saw a political assassination in Utah that tore the heart out of much of this country. This is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree, that's fine, that's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of law enforcement. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of ICE and CBP and everyone who puts their lives on the line to keep us safe. The divisive rhetoric tragically has real consequences. I hope that every one of us will pray, number one, for the safety of law enforcement that are risking their lives to keep us safe. Number two, for the health of those who were shot and injured today. We still don't know the full details of who was injured, but for the families also of the victims of this shooting. Violence has no place. It is wrong. And we should come together. If we want to have a debate about immigration policies, we can do so in the halls of Congress without demonizing each other, and especially without demonizing the men and women who every day put on a badge and go risk their lives to keep us safe. And we should not be putting language out there that inspires madmen to commit evil crimes. Our prayers are with the men and women of law enforcement, and we ought to come together and have some decency across the political aisle to say this violence is wrong and it needs to stop.
And we continue to follow breaking news in Dallas, Texas. A shooting at an ICE facility has left 2 people dead and 1 person in critical condition. Authorities say the shooter is also dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, the gunman opened fire from a rooftop of an adjacent building toward the facility. All 3 of the people shot were detainees at the facility, and officials say anti-ICE messages were found near the suspected shooter. Here's a Texas Senator Ted Cruz from moments ago.
This is the 3rd shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree. That's fine. That's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other.
CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca is live in Dallas right now. And Omar, what more do we know about this deadly shooting?
Well, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and officials here, state and federal and city and county, had a chance to answer them, but they didn't. We had several questions that we wanted to know what's going to be done to protect not only the ICE agents, but who we're hearing was shot. We have 3 senior law enforcement officials that are telling Nicole Skanga, one of our DHS and security correspondents, that a gunman fired indiscriminately at the ICE facility. Victims that were shot were all ICE detainees, is what they're saying. So we were trying to ask Senator Cruz and the special agent here in charge, what are you going to do to protect your ICE agents, but also detainees who may be in U.S. government custody? Right. And they didn't want to answer that question. Let me kind of paint a picture of kind of lay of the land where we are. This road that you see behind me is I-35. For people who are not familiar, this is a hugely busy highway. This goes from Mexico all the way up to Canada. I mean, you're talking, it starts in San Antonio, Dallas, goes up through Kansas, goes through Minneapolis. This is a major highway of transportation. This is where this ICE facility is. This is not one of those big facilities that holds thousands of people. It's a small, almost like a processing facility. An immigration attorney I was just texting with told me that sometimes this is where people who do have their case going through the system will come in to check in. You have to do sometimes monthly or several times a year. You have to check in with ICE and immigration officers. This is also the facility where they do it. So just kind of trying to paint the picture of what that looks like here, right by a busy highway, not a place that you're going to come to unless you know it's here.
Yeah. From, again, important context there. Omar Villafranca, thank you so much for your reporting.